I've got a chatty cook along video for you today. So I'm making a courgette loaf and I thought I'd just chat to you while I was making it. This is the recipe on this kind of old tatty piece of paper, and what I'm planning to do is cook it today and then take some photos of it so I can put it on the blog quite nicely. It's a recipe that came from my nan and I haven't been able to track the exact origins of it, but for a while she was an expat in Egypt, and someone out there, another expat who I believe was an American, gave her the recipe and we've been making it ever since, which is why it says zucchini bread on the name of the recipe, because we would call them courgettes, but you know, over the pond they're known as zucchinis. So it's not my recipe, I'm not entirely sure where it's come from. It's been knocking around in the family for a good few years though, and if you've got a glut of courgettes from the allotment, it's a really nice way to use them up. It doesn't use a ton of courgettes, but you might get one big courgette out of the way, and it freezes really well too. There are 480 grams of courgettes in the recipe, which I have laid out already. Thought it would just make this video go a bit more smoothly. I've got the self-raising flour and then lots of sugar and the other ingredients. I'm keeping all of the liquid off the courgettes, or I'm just pouring that into here. So in total there's 240 mils of liquid in it, so I'm just adding, the rest of the liquid is oil. It just depends how much you've got coming out of your courgettes really. So there's also 3 eggs, which I'm just gonna beat into the bowl, beat into the bowl. I feel like I need 2 cameras really for this, so I can have one focused on what I'm actually doing and one focused on my face while I'm talking to you. Someone has just started mowing their lawn outside as well. It's not an ideal time to be filming. I've shut the window, so hopefully we're okay for sound. So here's my eggs and I'm just gonna beat those up. I'm trying to whisk and look at the camera. It's Sunday today and I'm actually starting my college course tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to. I actually did get funding for it, which I'm really surprised about. I wasn't expecting to. So Mondays will be a full day at college. So I'm adding the eggs now into that oil and courgette liquid. Yeah, so Mondays are going to be a full day at college. I think it just means that I need to be a little bit organised with just everything really, just staying on top of things. I work quite hard to keep my schedule, so I haven't got a lot going on. Not a lot going on. So I've got a lot of free time to do what I want to do, and obviously I do want to go to college. Okay, flour now. This is, how much flour do I need? 720 grams of flour. That's quite a lot. It makes 3 loaves, this does, but I'm thinking of making like one really big loaf and then one smaller one, but we shall see. Oh, I think I need a bigger bowl. 720, that's an awful lot. Whew. This bowl is super full now. That's on top of the courgettes there, so I'm going to slowly stir that through. I thought this would make a nice one to take with me to college as well. I just need to do a little bit more planning. I really value my free time a lot, and as I was saying, I do want to study this course, but what I really want to go on to do is something to do with nutrition. That's what I'm interested in studying. But when I did my studies at school, but it was funny, it was 15 years ago, it was 2000 when I got my GCSEs. 16 years even. I had to take my certificates in to enroll onto this college course all the way back from then. You would think that, because obviously I did A-levels after that. Well, it's not obvious, I'm telling you. I did A-levels after that and then I did a degree, but going back to do this course now, they're not interested in any of that. They just want to see your GCSE certificates, and everyone at the time when you're doing your GCSE says how important they are, but I didn't think now, 16 years on, I would still be asked to produce those certificates. So this is, when I was studying previously, I never did sciences. I did science at GCSE and I got 2 Bs for that, so it's an okay grade, but it definitely wasn't my strongest subject. I was more into arts and languages at the time, and that's what I did my A-levels in, and business studies. So I want to go on and study nutrition, but I can't do that because I haven't got the equivalent of a science A level. So that's what this course for this next year is going to be. So while it is what I want to study, it's not exactly the nutrition, it's just a stepping stone to get on and do the it'll probably be biochemistry and nutrition or dietetics or something like that I do at universities. And I have been lining up some university visits, which is quite exciting. But I just know the way that my mind works, and I love studying. I'm a big believer in lifelong learning, but it's just because this is like a prescriptive course, you have to study what they tell you to study, and I don't know how well I'll get along with that, because if I'm interested in it then there's no stopping me. But if it feels like a bit of a chore, then I'm not sure. One of the modules that I have to take is called Study Skills, and I have to do a basic maths course and a class in computers as well. So it's like you can't just do the science, you have to follow their plan for it, which includes those things. So we'll see how I get on. I'm excited, I'm looking forward to it. And I've also got some sweet potatoes in the oven, so I'm making up a big batch of lunches to take. So now I'm going to add the sugar into the oil and egg mix. This is a mix of sugars just because I wanted to use up all of the bags of sugar that I had in the cupboard, but it's mostly brown sugar. I just need to stir that all up together. It's stirring up quite nicely. I could do with a big bowl. I'm quite interested in getting some stainless steel bowls. I've always wanted to get rid of, well, not always, I used to be a Tupperware consultant, but in the last couple of years I've wanted to try and get rid of as much plastic in the kitchen as I can. So I'd quite like to get some stainless steel bowls. Like a really big one would be good for making big batches of stuff like this. So because I haven't got a giant bowl, I'm going to mix it in like batches. So I'm going to put part of the courgette. This is like the courgette soaked in the flour into the bowl. And it's also got a pinch of salt and a pinch of cinnamon that goes in. So I'm going to put that into, oh, and walnuts. I haven't put the walnuts in. Here's me chattering away. It's got walnuts in it too. So here's walnuts. I'm putting in a pinch of salt. It really is only going to be a little bit of salt because I'm pretty much out. That's the end of my pink Himalayan salt. I got that as a Christmas present, and I've been interested in using pink Himalayan salt before because everyone says it's quite good. Just putting some cinnamon in now. But it is expensive, but actually it's lasted, you know, we're into September now. It's lasted quite a long time. That's a good length of time, I think. It's worth buying it. These were meant to be walnut pieces, but I've got quite a few whole walnuts in there, so I'm just gonna break those down a little bit. Just so it goes all the way through the loaf, really. It is nice to get big bits of walnuts. So now I'm gonna add some of that liquid in. Oh, that looks a nice colour, doesn't it? So I probably need to work on the logistics of filming this a little bit. I find it difficult to stir it up and film at the same time, but this is the batter that's going to go into the loaf tins now. So all of the ingredients are all combined. I did the 2 batches and then put them into this one big bowl. And then I've got my 2 loaf tins. So this is the really big one. I've greased it. And then this, this is the smaller one. It's also greased. And I've got, just to put down in the bottom, some grease-proof lining. A little bit there. So I just pop that into the bottom of the tins. So that's stuck in the bottom now. And I've got my big spoon, and I'm going to transfer all of the courgettes and walnut kind of batter across into the loaf tin. That's the plan. I think it's going to be easier to pour it. Again, I'm going to have to pop you down, guys. Hold on. Here we go, all done. So this is my 2 loaf tins now ready to go in the oven. They go in the oven at 165 degrees for 50 minutes to an hour. I'm putting them both in there on the top shelf. Here we go. The loaves are looking good. They've actually only been in the oven for 40 minutes. So I'm just peeling off paper there. And putting them onto the cooling rack. This is the big one. They're coming out of the trays really easily. Take the paper off this one too. giant. And there you have it. There's the zucchini loaves done. I'm going to leave these to cool before I slice them. And I will put the full recipe with details on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed this style of video, guys. I'm going to work on the editing a little bit and see if I can make it a bit slicker next time. I'll see you next week. Bye. But I'm really excited about these because these are purple potatoes that I've picked from the garden.